Speaking of which, and we talked about this, I think she's a traitor. When people talk about the idea of insurrection, I think this is treason. So remember Eileen Gu?
Oh, yeah, the bitch.
Yes, but she's attractive. So she was an American-born skier. Remember, she decided to ski for China in the Olympics.
Unbelievable.
She was born in the United States. And this is the problem with identity politics, where it's just, no, it's not about your values. It's not about where you're actually born. It's about, just your race or certain superficial features. We want to categorize you by that. So she decided to race for China as opposed to the United States. And here is what she had to say about that decision back then. Here's a refresher.
Born in San Francisco to an American father and a Chinese mother, Eileen announced in 2019 that she would ski for China at the Beijing Games.
The opportunity here for the sport to grow and to be one of those idols who really made me who I am as a skier, I know the impact that they had on me.
Yeah. So she decided, and she got a contract with Victoria's Secret.
Is the Chinese girl behind the white girl we just saw 5 pictures of?
I assume so.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Hiding behind a mogul.
Yeah.
Skiing on top of a nuclear reactor at the Beijing Games.
Oh, I love how we just pick the most oppressed part of you and you're that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's just, no, okay. Well, she picked the most oppressed part of her, but then decided to say, hey, I want to represent China. Really? Really? Well, here's the thing. She never spoke out against China and their gross abuses of human rights.
No.
She is hot. Now,
yes.
I mean, I just wanted to throw that in there because it is relevant. I want you to see me as a credible witness. Because if I said she's ugly, then you'd be like, well, they just have to discount everything he says.
Well, it's true.
Yeah, it's true.
It doesn't mean she's smart.
No, she's very attractive and
she's pretty good at skiing.
Treasonous.
Yes.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the kicker.
Send her to my jail.
She's back in the United States. Your Payless.
Yes.
Gu, as she's known. That's her nickname.
Gu.
That's her last name. She's back in the United States now, and she's decided that she's going to be an ambassador for Salt Lake City's Olympic bid. So now she's American again.
Oh.
The U.S. is going for the Winter Olympic Games in Salt Lake City in 2030, trying to get that host. If the Olympics are in the U.S. in 2030, any chance you switch to our side?
It's funny that you mentioned that because I am actually an ambassador for the Salt Lake City 2030 Olympic bid. And I think that that's this beautiful example of globalism and
bid yourself
the capacity
a soul.
that we can use skiing
Globalism.
and we can use sport and we can use winter sport to connect people. It's about Salt Lake specifically wants to become a global destination for athletes everywhere to come train there, and they want to incorporate 15 new countries into the Winter Olympics. And I think that's something that's really beautiful, and I've always stood for that.
Incorporate you
and
into
so
the
I'm
asphalt.
really honored to be a part of the whole thing, and we'll see if it goes ahead.
Now, this is all figurative, of course.
Yeah.
Does she know?
Why is she allowed to be an ambassador for the United States for anything?
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. We went from, and by the way, this whole idea that we've always been this incredibly racist nation, even before the Civil Rights Act, think about World War II. Was about to go into the war front. It was supposed to be the Eastern Front. Joe Louis, the most beloved athlete in all the United States, and he was fighting Max Schmeling, who was basically sort of made a de facto representative of the Nazis. This was a huge fight. Think about, I've talked about this before in the past, but for people who don't know, let me give you a little bit of a history lesson, okay? Joe Louis had the biggest fights, the biggest sporting events that had ever taken place was black in the 1930s and the 1940s, okay? Yeah. He was beloved by the United States. Doesn't mean that there aren't individual racists. I highly recommend Joe Louis's biography. It's incredibly fascinating. It shows you the kind of racism that he encountered in Detroit versus...
You gave it to me. It's a really good read.
Talked about how he wasn't referred to as the N-word until he moved to Detroit.
Yep.
He also was proud to fight for his country, unlike Muhammad Ali, and instead, after he won this fight with Max Schmeling, they decided to make him more of an ambassador for morale for the troops, which makes sense. And then afterwards, it's also a great lesson in how the tax man decides to rape you, because Joe Louis did a bunch of exhibition fights to raise money for, I believe it was the troops, for charity, and instead they decided they had to pay taxes on it, so we had to return from retirement. So this is what happens with wartime heroes. They're never really appreciated, just like Winston Churchill was ousted within 2 years because, hey, he fought off the Nazis. He didn't want to support socialized healthcare. But I want to give you this context. Eileen Gu decides to abandon her country to be a traitor, a treasonous traitor. Then she decides to ski for China, and now she's ambassador of the United States. Joe Louis, a black American, beloved, was fighting a guy named Max Schmeling, if you don't know this. Let's have them pull this clip for Mug Club later on. I don't know if they have the first fight. It might have been before it was televised.
An extraordinary story what he did, too.
It really
is, yeah.
So Joe Louis, undefeated, okay, at this point in his career. He's about to go to Europe, World War II. And he's fighting the only guy to have beaten him, guy named Max Schmeling. Knocked him out. Joe Louis hadn't lost any other fights except for a guy named Max Schmeling, who is now the representative of the Aryan race. So people know about Jesse Owens. They don't know about Joe Louis versus Max Schmeling. A lot of people don't anyways. So he's about to go into World War II. He's been drafted. Hitler's saying, look, we're going to show our racial superiority with Max Schmeling versus your American, and he didn't say black guy back then, he said American Negro. We're going to show how much better we are. The Americans rallied behind Joe Louis. There was so much pressure on this guy as the representative of his country. The president called him and said, you got to win this, man. I don't think there's ever been a more consequential moment in sports history. But can you imagine if Joe Louis just said, oh, you know what? I'm going to go fight for China. I'm going to go fight for Germany and then come back. Yeah. And then come back. He would have been absolutely excoriated, rejected by the American public.
Well, and the argument that she's making is she's like, I wanted to be an idol for young girls over there to be able to. How about being a spokesperson?
They don't have young girls. They drown them in bathtubs.
Yes, exactly. Right. For their one China policy that they had. I know they've moved on from that a little bit late, but they wouldn't have even had the chance to ski over there. No. She was taking advantage of the United States, all of the training facilities, everything, and then she left.
And by the way, if they're skiers in China, they don't get to pick it. It's when they're born. They go, oh, you have good joint structure. You're a gymnast. You work in coal mine. You a skier. You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
But even then, a country that was, arguably much harder on a race than, he wouldn't have crossed Joe Louis's mind.
No, never would have.
That's the difference. And, and you're right, it is the most pivotal moment in sports history because it made Hitler go, am I wrong?
Am I wrong?
Is this all?
Am I wrong? Or is Schmeling just a pussy boy?
Oh, we just so wrong.
Oh, and by the way, you should know, Joe Louis won that fight, knocked out Max Schmeling, I believe, in the first round, cold, with a strong right hand.
Well, and then imagine he was summarily shot.
There's no bigger pressure.
No.
You're fighting the Nazis with your fist.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's amazing.
And now we have someone who wants to ski for China because she can get a Victoria's Secret catalog. By the way, Chinese women don't need you as an inspiration. Do you know what their inspiration is to be skiers? Their government kills their family if they don't ski.
Yeah.
It's chosen for them. This is just how tone deaf and, yes, primarily white Eileen Gu is. You think of in the United States, because women have choices, you want to inspire young women, not just to make the choice to be a skier, but inspire them, hopefully, to be disciplined, to do the hard work when nobody's paying attention after the excitement is worn off. You don't need to inspire that in China. They have no choice. They get punished. They get their rights removed from them, and their families are punished if they don't ski for the country.
Yeah.
That's why it's 99% perspiration, 1% death threats against your family.
Yep.
Well, those death threats, they carry a lot of weight. The thing that she could have done was inspire people to be free.
Yeah.
To have a government that allowed them to make these choices in their life. Like you were saying, this is just forced. And I think she's I don't know that I believe this, because this is the first time, and we covered this story when it came out. This is the first time that she said this. This is the first time that I've heard her say this. Maybe let me be a little bit more clear, that this is what she was wanting to do. We looked at it, and it was like, she's going to get millions and millions and millions of dollars, and China doesn't have dual citizenship.
No, they
You're
didn't.
either Chinese citizen or you're not.
Right.
I don't know how she's not a Chinese citizen right now.
Why is she allowed back?
There.
Why did we accept her? I assume that if she's going to be an ambassador for the did you say Salt Lake City?
Salt Lake City.
For the Salt Lake City.
For the United States.
Why is she allowed to be back? She would walk in like, oh yeah, let me take you to the, we have a yen room. Eileen Gu, it's filled with yen. She just goes in and like, oh no, it's just the Abu Ghraib. As soon as she goes in, a hood and a German Shepherd barking at her. Did we say yen room? We meant Abu Ghraib. We're sorry.
Whoops.
And this is a Uyghur
it's the
experience
Vietnamese
weekend.
dong room.
Yes.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Hope you like torture.
Unbelievable.
Instead, we accept them back. Yeah. We accept these people back who rejected their country and then want to come back for the milk and honey that they rejected.
To promote globalism.
Yeah, to promote globalism.
Because that's a good idea.
That's the creepiest part about it.
Do you want to know what globalism is? Okay, when she talks about it, and this is a very clear-cut example, right? So seldom do you have people this blissfully unaware of themselves and stupid. So she's saying globalism. She's talking about China. It's because she's out for her own self-interest. Yeah. Globalism is having someone right next to you with festering leprosy sores and saying, yeah, I want to link arms with that. Do you want leprosy or do you not? Well, one's globalism and one says, you know what? We don't want to link arms with countries that don't share our values and kill their own citizens.
Yeah.
And commit. How can you talk about the United States being flawed, which we are as it relates to human rights or our history, and say, I think globalism is a beautiful thing? Hold on. Are you still bitching about slavery centuries ago here? You know they still have slaves there, right? You know that? I don't want to hear you bitching about shit that we did 100 years ago or 200 years ago as you profit off of modern indentured servitude. I'm so tired of this shit. I hate China, okay? I hate Sweden. I hate John Cena.
With a burning passion now.
The character.
Right.
Figuratively. Literally.
Literally, yes.
But we were curious about what the Chinese thought regarding Eileen Gu, and so we actually did send, we have more budget here at Louder with Crowder, as you can see by the dynamic outfit. We sent our Street Beats crew to Xinjiang to find out.
Hello. How do you feel about Eileen Gu going to America?
What?
Yeah, you can just go to America.
I could just leave China and go to America? Is that right? No, Eileen Gu is a white devil, #1 traitor in all of China. She is not welcome in Xinjiang, and she's really not that hot anyway, so I don't even care. I hate her. Eileen. What? Take me with you! No.
He tried.
All right.
Yeah.
He did.
I guess it's the ginger's a recessive gene even with the Asians.
Yeah.
By the way, share the show right now if you're watching here on YouTube. You can share this. It apparently helps with the YouTube algorithm now. They want you to share because they want everyone to go to YouTube.
Right.
They want more people on site for all of these shows that YouTube you don't make money off of.
And then they ban you.
Yes, and they ban us. And you can smash the like button as well too. All these things just help. And you know what? That's all you got to do. If you don't join Mug Club, just go click. It doesn't burn that much.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.